Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with our event recap of Star Wars: War of the Bounty Hunters, covering the final month of the event. So, first off, this video was supposed to be was intended to go up initially the beginning of this month before New Comic Book Day. However, there were some shipping delays involving some of Marvel's Star Wars books this past month. So, sadly, the two of them didn't pop up until the first week of November. So, anyway, without further ado, let's get started. Kicking things off, we'll actually be looking at War of the Bounty Hunters number 5, the final issue of the miniseries. Now, by the time we got to the 5th one, there was a lot going on. Darth Vader had declared Han Solo his, and in fact took Han. The Falcon was en route to try and rescue him from the Empire. The Hutts had been commanded by Crimson Dawn to attack to start a fight with the Empire. So yeah. And meanwhile, Darth Vader was, by and large, having a dogfight with Luke Skywalker. And the Falcon was adrift at having been damaged by a seismic charge. But the battle between the Hutt fleet and the Empire, the Empire deploys TIE fighters, so yeah. In the middle of things, though, with all that going on, Valance and Boba Fett are trying to get aboard the Executor to, claim Han themselves. Though each has a different reason for wanting to do so. Boba Fett wants the bounty, Valance wants to rescue his friend. Lando manages to get the Falcon going again, and they receive a message from the Superstars, from the Executor, Vader's flagship, telling them to dock. So they do so. And of course, one of the officer in question is an operative of Crimson Dawn's. While the battle is going on outside, however, well, there's a lot of other things that are happening. And since the battle is being fought between the Executor and the Hutt fleet, with Darth Vader not being involved at all, because he's off chasing Luke Skywalker, Admiral Piet has the Emperor called in because Vader did say, hey, look, don't bother me again right now unless the Emperor tells you to. But, so, Boba Fett and Valance make it to where Han's being kept. And Fett betrays Valance, leaving him a slightly mangled mess of cybernetics. But the Emperor wants Vader to deal with repairing relations between the Empire and the Hutt Council. Aboard the Star Destroyer, Lando, Leia, and Chewie are going after Han, with, of course, a pitched space battle going on outside, when Boba Fett shows up. The three rebels are about to rescue Han when, well, the, big-ass friggin' hole gets blown on the side of the Executor. and Han slips out. On the Hutt flagship, Vader shows up, and yeah, you don't really go into what happens in this issue, but Fett manages to save Boba Fett, or Han Solo, and Crimson Dawn basically said, this was just the beginning of, the dawn of their return. And that is where, well, that is not yet where the issue ends. We have an epilogue. At the Palace of Jabba the Hutt on Tatooine, Boba Fett shows up. He's not happy with Jabba, for obvious reasons, but he does bring Solo to him and basically, hey, pay me. And that is where the story ends, or at least this part of the story. Next up, we've got Dr. Aphra. So, Dr. Aphra and her cohorts were being held prisoner in Vermilion, but they had made good. They had escaped, and however, they were pinned down trying to get the data crystal necklace that Aphra had attempted to steal. Pinned down by none other than Death Stick. But they managed to take down Death Stick as well as some of the Crimson Dawn commandos by utilizing an artifact of the Ascendant. Which Aphra used her circuitry tattoos to hack. Well, slice. However, the artifact burns out those tattoos. Allowing just lucky Ariel Yu, Sana, and Aphra to escape. Before the two groups part ways, however, well, as a parting gift, Aphra chucks a thermal detonator at Ariel Yu and Just Lucky's ship before her and Sana escape. And but they manage to get away with the data crystal necklace, which Aphra does hack the old-fashioned way. It's a list of Crimson Dawn agents and where they're planted. The simple version of where they're planted is everywhere. Empire, Rebellion, Tageco, everywhere. And that is where the issue ends. Then we've got Darth Vader, number 17. While Vader is going after Luke Skywalker, Ochi of Bestoon is trying to deal with Sly Moore, as Moore has once again betrayed Vader. But Moore informs Ochi of the battle going on above the planet Jakara, or the planet. Jakara. And Ochi brings it to the attention of Vader, who says, yeah, I know. The Imperial Fleet's got it. But we also find out just what happened aboard the Hutt flagship. It's exactly what you'd expect. Vader massacred his way through the Hutt flagship. The Hutt Council is wiped out, but they did have a self-destruct device which is set off. But Vader survives the self-destruct of the vessel, having basically pulled pieces of debris to shield himself, and well, he survives planetfall. Sly Moore is taken prisoner by Ochi and being held aboard the Executor. When Vader returns, he attempts to kill her, but the Emperor calls, gives him his new mission, which is to rout the Crimson Dawn, find and wipe out the Crimson Dawn agents within the Empire. Sly Moore briefly has a moment of thinking that, hey, the Emperor didn't demand my death. Good, okay, he still he knows the value of my service. But Masameda makes an excellent point that perhaps she's not even important enough for the Emperor to notice. But the issue ends with Vader telling Ochi to go to the Assassin's League and tell them that, well, the League works for him now. And so, on the planet Saki, there's the 3 Master Assassins of the Guild who have a gift for Vader, Lady Kira. And so, Ochi kills the 3 Master Assassins and frees Lady Kira. And we learn that Ochi Bestoon is a member of Crimson Dawn, which will definitely make for some interesting point later on. Let's see. We'll actually do the IA one shot last, but we got Star Wars number 18. So this takes place. This is firmly in epilogue territory. Aboard the Falcon, Leia's kind of giving up hope. She thinks Han's dead. A minute later, she would have had him free of the carbonite. But that plus, everything else she's been doing, the destruction of Alderaan, Battle of Hoth, interrogation of Vader's hand, everything. But Crimson Dawn shows up. Lady Kira wants to speak with Princess Leia. So she comes aboard, unarmed. She wants to talk to Leia alone. So they talk, explaining that she explains her history with Han in a very, very just simple manner. They used to date. In all honesty, she thinks that Han is better off with Leia because with Leia, he can be the person that Kira knew he always could be. Whereas with her, he would have gone down a much darker path. But she also explained what her intentions were. To at least, whoever it was that bought Han Solo, he would still make his way back to the rebellion. However, that was not what happened. But she regales Leia with a story of her and Han's time on Corellia, and also tells Leia just what happened to Han. That he was saved from falling into the icy sea of Jakara by Boba Fett. That he's meaning that Han is likely at Jabba's palace on display. But she also says that basically says you got 2 options. 1, take me away, put me in a rebel brig. 2, let me go. And Crimson Dawn does what it can to help you get Han Solo back from Jabba the Hutt. Well, obviously they picked the latter choice. But yeah, like I said, at this point we are firmly in epilogue territory. Which brings us to Bounty Hunters number 17. Now, where this picks up with Valance. He's found by a bunch of stormtroopers, and he basically blasts his way through all of them. They don't stand a chance against them. Meanwhile, Tonga, Losha, Bosk, Zuckuss, Tonga's crew basically are coming after Valance. Valance has information that they need. They're able to communicate with Valance by an old smuggler's channel, but and Lady Kira recruits the Unbroken clan into Crimson Dawn. But Valance's presence is discovered aboard the Executor, and Lord Vader is informed. But yeah, so Valance makes his way to the. He has a plan. He's gonna make his way to the hangar, and basically, use a jump trooper's jump pack to jump out onto Tonga's ship. Seems to go fine, with Zuckuss going up to the hatch to bring him in, and they grab hands, and Valance is yanked back into the ship as Zuckuss is holding on to one of his arms. Well, Valance is yanked back in, missing an arm. Who was he yanked back into the ship by? Yeah, Darth Vader. And so later, Valance comes to human again, or at least he appears to be human again. With Vader stating that he fixed Valance because Valance serves him now, and that is where the issue ends. And finally, we've got our last tie-in, War of the Bounty Hunters IG-88. So this takes place, part of it takes place in during the end of and before the epilogue of War of the Bounty Hunters. The rest takes place afterwards. So IG-88 is found on the planet where Vader left his dismembered body, his dismembered robot body. But it's found by a cybernetic repair of droids by the name of RB-919. RB has been hired by David Lompop and fixes IG-88. He actually sees this as a great honor, but he even includes a chip into the into IG-88's core programming, which with basically the contract that Lompop is offering him. IG-88 is turned back on, and it kills RB. But IG-88 has been hired to steal Boba Fett, or steal Han Solo back from Boba Fett. Lompoc sends him security codes for Boba Fett's ship. And on the way to Tatooine, IG-88 thinks about its encounter with Vader. On paper, IG-88 should have won. But somehow, Vader was able to triumph. And not just triumph, but, potentially speaking, humiliate IG-88. But on Tatooine, IG-88 tracks down Boba Fett. Confirms that the security codes that's been given are correct. Goes aboard, tries to ascertain whether or not there are additional security features that he was unaware of, but before IG-88 can do that, Boba Fett comes back. They have a bit of a firefight with Boba rupturing a carbonite tank. He has a carbon freezing set up in his ship now, and he leaves the frozen IG-88 out in the desert and flies off. But IG-88 realizes as he thaws that it has much to consider, and so it goes back to the planet where RB found it, and well, he's got IG-88 decides it has much to ponder. As it has all the capabilities and programming to engineer success, and yet success eludes him. So, IG-88 decides that it will improve its programming, because unlike organic beings, IG-88 is but a machine for which time means nothing. That is where the issue ends. But as I mentioned quite a bit throughout all this, I really liked this story, and it gave me some. It gave me some nostalgia for one of the old Star Wars Expanded Universe novels back in the '90s. So that's always nice. But anyway, that's gonna do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.